In today's video, we are going to be doing an all-day wear test of a new foundation from Shop Miss A AOA Studio. Back when I did my Shop Miss A Black Friday haul, I asked you guys, would you be interested in seeing a try-on and wear test of the new AOA Studio Matte Vision High Definition Foundation? And I actually did get a pretty good amount of feedback from you guys. A lot of you guys said yes, you would like to see this. So we're going to be trying this on. We're going to be doing a wear test. We're also going to be trying out one of their new powders. This is the AOA Studio Flawless Setting and Finishing Loose Powder. And as you can see, this is pretty small. This is supposed to be a dupe for the Da Vinci powders, the one where they have like, the 4 different compartments. I'm not quite sure how to use this, so I'm gonna have to like go on the website to look, but the first thing we're gonna do is apply our foundation. Now I've already primed. I have primed using the No Pore Face Primer. This is the A+, this is from Shop Miss A, and then I've also done the Touch and Soul Pretty Filter Icy Sherbet Primer. These are 2 of my favorite primers. Now when I do a wear test, I like to do it in the way that I would actually wear a foundation. I always prime, I always set with powder. I have oily skin, I have enlarged pores, so yes, I always do both. What I am looking for is how well the foundation blends over my favorite primers, how well it looks underneath my favorite powders, and how well it wears throughout the day. Now I have oily skin, so it doesn't make a difference if a foundation is like super matte. I still end up having to touch up, so that's not something that I'm looking for. Usually I end up touching up a couple of times throughout the day, but because we're doing a wear test, I'm not going to touch up the foundation, but just know that's something that I would normally do anyway. What I'm looking for is how well it's actually wearing on the skin. Like, does it still look good after a few hours? Is it breaking up? Is it starting to like, collect and congeal in certain areas of the face or something like that? That is what I'm looking for. And since it says it is a matte foundation, I'm also looking just to see how mattifying it looks as the day goes on. So those are the things that I look for whenever I'm doing a wear test. Before applying, let me give you guys some information. The foundation retails for $1.88. There are 10 shades. That's usually the way it is for foundations and Shop Miss A's. They're usually between like 8 to 10 shades. They don't usually have a huge shade range, but because the foundation is so inexpensive in its pricing that you can order, 2, 3 shades if you need to, and mix them to get a perfect match. And they usually have at least one shade that's really deep and one shade that's really light, so it makes it a little bit easier to do that. According to the website, the AOA Studio Matte Vision High Definition Foundation hides uneven skin tone, uneven texture during the most intense close-ups, so skin looks poreless and perfect in professional lighting, on screen and beyond. Concealer, blush, and highlighter settles seamlessly into the skin for a flawless 4K finish. Those are a lot of high claims for a foundation that's only $1.88. So really interested in seeing how well these claims hold up. Full coverage, high definition, matte finish, creamy and blendable, non-toxic, vegan and cruelty free. So those are all amazing things. So let's go ahead and get ready to apply our foundation. And I'm just going to use my Total Face Sponge, which you guys who have been following me, this is my favorite way to apply foundation. That's also something I look for because I don't use my fingers and I don't use a brush. I usually use this sponge to apply my foundation. I didn't say how many ounces, so let me look right quick and see if we can find that information as well. There's 1 fluid ounce, 30 milliliters, so that's pretty average for a full-size foundation. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tube and I'm just going to apply some to my sponge. It looks like the shade is going to be pretty good. I wasn't sure when I first got it. It looked like it might be too deep, but it might actually be a pretty good shade. I didn't tell you what shade I have either, so let me tell you that. This is Tan 1. All right, so let's go on ahead and start applying. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good shade match. It's not too light, it's not too deep, it's blending in pretty well. The coverage so far is looking really nice. It says it is a full coverage, and yes, I will say I am definitely getting full coverage. I think it's doing a pretty good job. I'm applying just a little bit more. One of the claims is that it gives you a skin-like finish, and so far I will say that yes, it is looking pretty skin-like as well. I wouldn't say that it's poreless, and I wouldn't say that I have like a camera ready, filtered finish, but honestly, I wasn't really expecting that from a $1.88 foundation. Overall, though, It does look good. The finish is looking good so far. It does look skin-like. I'm going to kind of let it sit for just a minute to see if we get more of a matte finish, because right now it is looking kind of glowy. And it does claim to be a matte finish, so that's kind of what we're going to be looking for. So let me give it just a minute to just kind of settle into the skin, and then we'll come back and we'll see if it looks more matte. So it's been about a minute, and yes, I do see a little bit of mattifying, but it still has a little bit of glow. So this is not one of those foundations that's just going to set and dry to a dry matte finish, but I do notice that there is some mattifying. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and conceal real quick. I'm going to use my Too Faced concealer. All right, now to set with powder, and we're going to be testing out the Flawless Setting Powder. As you can see, there are 4 compartments. So we have a deeper pink, a peachier, a lighter pink, and then kind of a yellow, like banana looking powder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the banana looking powder under my eyes, and I'm going to kind of mix them all together to see how it looks setting the face. I don't know how well it's going to work, but that is what we're going to try. Let me give you guys some quick information about the powder. It says it's non-drying, oil control, even complexion, plus 0 flashback. So that way, if you're taking a photo and using flash, it's not supposed to be a flashback. There are 4 correcting quads with 4 strategic cues to combat hyperpigmentation, correct redness, brighten, and visibly instantly even all complexions. And from what I'm looking at here, there are 4 shades: fair, light, medium, and deep, and it retails for $1.88. It's supposed to be blurring, mattifying, non-drying, oil control, and give you a natural cover. Also non-toxic, vegan, and cruelty-free. So what I'm going to do, I did see a demo video of how to apply this, although I honestly, it still kind of confused me a little bit. What the person in the demo video did was they took the powder, put the lid on the top, and then they just turned it upside down and then just tapped the top or the bottom of it, because the idea is to get an even in each quadrant amount of powder. Let's see if this works. And then lift. Okay, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but we have a lot of the deepest pink shade came out the most, and then you can see the different quadrants there, and then the under eye powder. Like I said, I'm going to take this section right here and see if I can use it to set under my eyes, and then I'm just going to mix it all together over the face, and we'll see how that works. To apply the powder under the eyes, I'm going to try one of these AOA Studio triangular puffs. I have actually been using these. I've used them a few times, and I'm liking them. And this is actually a really good quality sponge. Feels really good. It was actually easy to wash. I have washed these once, and it was so easy to clean. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to dip it straight into that quadrant. Nice brightening powder. And I'm just going to press it under the eyes. The way that I saw them applying the powders on the website was they put like one kind of like a bronzer, one is like a brightener into the cheek. But I don't know. None of these are going to work as a brightener, or like a bronzer rather. So I don't think I'm going to try to use them in that way. And I'm afraid that if I tried to use the pink one as a brightener, it would just look pink. But wow, that is looking good. Do you see that? This is the before and this is the after. Wow. It actually went on really smooth. It's actually very blurred. I'm liking that so far. It is bright as well. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm seeing. So I'm going to tap back into it. And I'm going to do this eye real quick. This eye is the one where I have more creasing under this eye than I do this eye. But so far, everything is looking good. So far, so good. Now, the rest of the face. I'm going to take the powder, and I'm just going to use my sponge because this is how I would apply it to the rest of the face. I may take the triangular sponge, just apply a little bit more powder around the nose because I've been doing that as well, and that's been working well for me. So I'm going to take the sponge. I'm just going to kind of mix all the powders together. So there's a lot of pink in this, and that's what's concerning me. Let's start applying. I just kind of want to see if the pink just kind of dissipates into the skin, or if it looks pink on the skin. I am seeing a nice blurred finish, but you could definitely see that pink hue on the skin, so I don't really know how that would work for me. What I might end up doing is using that pink just kind of as a blushiness on the cheek or something, but I don't see how I can use that as an overall powder all over the face. And I don't see how I can use it as an under eye brightener without the pink, because as you can see it, you can really see that pink in there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to use another powder to set all over. I'm going to use my AOA Studio Perfect Setting Powder. So I'm going to set with this real quick, come back, and then we will move on. I have actually bronzer. I'm going to go ahead and put the bronzer on real quick. I'm going to do this part on camera, and then the rest of the makeup I'm probably going to apply off camera, but let me set my powder, come back, and we'll move on. Foundation is all set, and I went on ahead and did my brows off camera as well. This is just my Moira 1.5 milliliter Precision Brow Pencil in Expresso. All right, the next step we're going to do is bronzer, but you guys, so far, everything is looking really good. The powder went really well over the foundation, and the foundation looks really, really good underneath it. I didn't do a time for like when I first finished applying the foundation. It is 11:16 now. When I first finished applying the foundation, it was 11:03. I didn't mention that, so I did want to go ahead and mention that now. So it's been about almost 15 minutes, I'd say, that the foundation has been on. So yeah, you know, since I've applied the foundation before the powder and all that stuff. We're going to be bronzing with the AOA Studio Perfect Bronzer Powder. This is one of those things I've wanted to try for a while. Like, this bronzer came out last year and I just never picked it up. But during the Black Friday sale, I thought, what the heck, we'll go ahead and get it. It's a lightweight matte finish. The one I got is in Toasted. Hopefully this won't be like an exact match to my skin. We're going to be using one of the brushes from the new AOA Studio Rainbow line. I have used this a couple of times and I do like it. I really enjoy these like dome type brushes for applying bronzer. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and just apply it where I normally apply bronzer, which is around my hairlines. We're going to blend that in. It's a little bit lighter than what I normally go for a bronzer, but it actually does look good. Like, you can see it. It's giving me kind of a light bronze, not like an intense bronze, but more a light toastier bronze. And this brush does a really good job of blending in bronzer products. I'm going to apply it along the cheekbones. I could probably go up a shade, just a little bit deeper, but you can see it, and I do think it looks nice. It's a very natural, like, bronzy glow for like this time of year. Now I'm going to take this angled blush brush, also from the same set, and I'm going to go back into this powder and see if I can apply it as like a blush. That pink is just way too overwhelming. It's like just an overall setting powder, even a brightener. It's a lot. So let's see how this works as like just a loose blush. Ooh, got a lot on my brush there. Okay, you can definitely see the pink, but it's very, very soft, very muted, which is what I expect for a powder. There is a little bit of glow. This might work really well as something to kind of like blend out blush. Like if I apply blush and it's just too bright, this might work really well just to kind of tone it down. So I might try it for that. I'm going to finish off the rest of my makeup. I'm about to do an eye look for another video, and then we will come back and we'll kind of see how everything is holding up at that point. We're doing our first official check-in. It is 12:05, so it's been about an hour since I first finished applying the foundation. As you can see, I have completed the rest of my makeup. This is look number 1 as part of my 2 more looks with that Nomad New Zealand Stargazer palette, so definitely check that out. So far, the foundation is looking pretty decent. I do have just a touch of creasing right in here happening already, and a little bit underneath the eyes. The creasing under the eyes doesn't usually happen, especially this quickly, whenever I'm using one of my other powders that I absolutely love to use underneath the eyes. If you recall, I did use the kind of brightening section of that loose Flawless setting powder, the one that is the Givenchy dupe. But that is the first check-in. I will be back in a few hours to do our second check-in. It is 2:57, so it's probably been about 4 hours or so since I first finished applying the foundation itself. So far, everything is looking pretty good. I'm actually pretty impressed. It did oxidize a little bit though. That's why it looks like there's like a little bit of a line here, because it did oxidize just a little bit, but not badly. I do have a little bit of shine coming through, but this is the thing. When I touch my face still feels like pretty matte, but there is like a little bit of shine coming through as well, which normally happens. I have oily skin. That's common. I'm not surprised. Even if I'm using a foundation that's like super matte, I still get a little bit of shine throughout the day, and usually I do touch up. I'm not doing that because this is a wear test, but yes, throughout the day, normally I would touch up, but I think so far it's actually looking pretty good. What do you guys think? I will be back in a few hours or so to do my final check-in. We are doing our final check-in. It is currently about 6 o'clock, so it's been about 8 hours. I think that's a pretty good amount of time, to do a full day wear test. And so far at this point, I think everything is still looking pretty good. Now my face is a little shinier. It's a little less matte, but as far as the actual foundation, the way that it still looks pretty good. Like I said, that's pretty much what I'm looking for. With me having oily skin, I do touch up throughout the day. And we also need to keep in mind that I have been indoors all day long. We are still snowed in, so it's not like I've been outside. I have not really tested this like in the heat and the elements or anything, but just for, having been inside all day long, 8-9 hours of wear, I think it's actually looking pretty decent, especially considering the fact that I only paid $1.88 for this foundation. So far, not bad. I would say that this wear test was a win. I'm happy with the results. But that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, if you found it helpful, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up. It really does help with my channel. If you're new to my channel and you're not already subscribed, I would love it if you would consider joining my little family and hitting subscribe. Make sure you tap the bell so you don't miss a thing. And you can also follow me on my other socials. I am on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Be safe, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.